Hi, my name is Olivia, and for this video journal, I'm talking about my reactions to the Renaissance poetry from writers like Sir Thomas Wyatt, Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey, and Queen Elizabeth I. One of the first things I noticed is that these poems felt really different from the medieval texts we were reading earlier in the semester. The medieval works felt huge and dramatic and were often really focused on religion, morality, or big public ideas. These poems, though, feel more personal and emotional, like they're about relationships or inner struggles. But at the same time, the emotions aren't just openly shared. It feels like the writers are filtering themselves or being really careful about how they say things. I was kind of surprised by how restrained a lot of the poems felt. Even when someone is clearly upset or heartbroken, they still sound controlled. No one is having a total emotional breakdown on the page. That made me realize that maybe the poems are as much about managing appearances as they are about expressing feelings. There's almost this sense that someone is always watching, so the speaker has to present themselves in a certain way. If I had to focus on one writer, I'd pick Wyatt. His voice feels really conflicted to me. In a lot of his poems, the speaker seems hurt, confused, or even betrayed, but he never fully says what happened. I keep feeling like there's a story behind it we're not allowed to hear. At first that frustrated me, but then I started thinking about his position in the royal court and how dangerous it might be to accuse someone or be too directed. That made the poems more interesting because the silence and the metaphors start to feel intentional. It's like he's protecting himself while still letting us see some emotion. The poem that resonated with me the most was They Flee From Me. I liked how dramatic it felt, and I was really drawn into trying to figure out who the woman was and why things changed. It feels personal but also political at the same time, which made me want to reread it. I think I like poems where there's something hidden under the surface because it makes me feel more involved as a reader. The readings I found most challenging were the ones where the language felt really formal or distant. Sometimes I had to slow down a lot or read things twice. It can be hard to tell if I'm missing something important or if the poem is supposed to feel unclear. This week, what helped me most was trying to pay attention to patterns, like repeated ideas or contradictions. I also tried thinking about who the writer is and what risks they might be facing. That made the poems feel less random and more purposeful. As the course keeps going, I think the hardest part is moving from just understanding what is happening and explaining why it matters and how different writers approach similar problems. But I can tell the practicing comparison is helping because I'm starting to notice differences in tone and strategy more quickly. Overall, this module made me realize that poetry can be a way of expressing feelings, but also a way of surviving in a complicated political and social environment. Thank you.